Across the glass from there is one Will Ortner. It is a Willed Squared edition of the show today. Luke is in Europe.
Yeah, he thinks he's fancy.
Real fancy pants. You ever been to Europe, Will?
No, I was asked. I politely declined.
Why not? Why didn't you go?
Because I thought I was going to play in Canada. I was asked to go play football in Prague.
And you said no?
Yeah, well, again, I thought I was going to get to play football in Canada or here.
Oh, who cares?
I know it
You
was
go
a
to
dumb
Prague.
It was a dumb move. I fully admit that it was a miscalculation on my part. Well, because they asked me in like March, and people were like, "No, trust me, you could play up here in Edmonton." And I was like, "Well, I could play in Edmonton, and I'll make more money." And then I didn't play in Edmonton, so I made no money.
Let's see. What do I want to do? Go play in a cold, crappy city in Canada.
It's in the summer.
Or go to Prague.
I know. Look, I was a dumb kid. I was 23. What do you want from me?
23?
No,
Yeah.
I was 24. I'm wrong.
Oh, 24? Yeah, that's
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, I mean, you know what? Quite honestly, I never really appreciated travel as much as I should have. I went to Paris once,
Ooh.
and I enjoyed it slightly.
When'd you go though?
Like 23?
Yeah, that's
Maybe.
right around when you start caring about travel.
Yeah, I
'Cause-
didn't though. You know, the only reason I went was because I had a girlfriend at the time who was long distance, and so the only thing I cared about when I got there was getting laid. That was kind of it. I didn't really care about the culture all that much.
Yeah.
I probably should have more. I was still very much in my football brain of things. Like I just wanted to I wanted to crash and smash. You dig?
Yeah, been there.
Yeah. And so that one got lost on me. I also went to New York, and it was the same situation. I just wanted to get laid. So
Oh, see, I really like New York.
yeah, I did too. I got laid a lot. So that's like what was important to me at the time.
You're like,
That's-
this is the best visit ever.
Oh yeah.
What'd you see? Nothing.
If you would have met me in my mid-20s, you probably would have been like, yeah, he's all right. He's a little much. He was kind of fun to hang out with for an hour. Then it got crazy.
He's out here trying to do a bunch of side quests and stuff, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
See,
He
but
wanted me to take me to some Alyssa's house at like 3 a.m. He wouldn't stop bugging me until I drove him there.
he met this girl on Tinder.
Yeah.
Hey, I had a buddy like that.
Did you?
Oh
I
yeah.
think we all got one.
Every once in a while, it'd be like, the one I remember is all the boys went and visited one of our friends. Like we all got
boys.
together in the summer. Workouts for football were done on like a Thursday morning. Everyone got done with work, took Friday off. So you got done with work at like 2 or 3 in the summer. We all drove out to Spokane. That's where one of our buddies was living. And it was like 2 of us from Central, a couple guys from Eastern, and then a couple guys from back home. And every single night, like right when everyone, like we just have like beer or,
Yeah.
some hard alcohol or whatever. And honestly, it was guys just hanging out. Like I think one night we went into a laser tag place and it was like us and a bunch of 10-year-olds. It was a bunch of 21-year-old dudes and 10-year-olds. And it was nuts. It was not okay. And
Were their parents there? Or?
I feel bad for the parents because like I'm pretty sure at one point like a child was used as a shield to not get shot. It was a whole thing. But
That's
every night there was one dude every single night just, hey, I'm gonna see you guys later. I'm gonna go get picked up now. And this random just sketchy kind of car would pull in and this sketchy female would get out, and it was just like, really, dude, that's what you want to do tonight? And he's
Yeah.
like, I'll be back, don't worry, guys, I'll be back in time for laser tag.
Yeah, see, I was that guy too. It's just I didn't appreciate everything that was really in front of me when I was younger. And I try to now. But it's still difficult at times. It still can be difficult at times. I was told that I'm on YouTube.
You're on YouTube
Okay.
and Twitch.
How do I figure out how do I look at myself?
Okay, so
Where do I go?
So go onto YouTube and type in 1080 The Fan.
1080 The Fan.
I like how you're doing it right now.
Yeah.
And when you hit search, there's going to be a thing that has our wonderful logo. You're going to click on our wonderful logo.
Okay, I'm clicking
It's going to
on it.
take you to our front page, and
Nice.
on top, it's going to say Sinner and the Saint.
Oh,
4624. You're going to click on that, and then boom.
holy crap. That's where I am.
You're
I can
also,
see myself right now.
Right? You're also on Twitch at
Oh my
1080 The Fan.
gosh.
The Twitchers are playing a drinking game, I guess.
Oh, they are?
That's what it says.
Can I real quick? Hold on one sec.
Yeah. All right. Now you're. Oh, are you moving the? No, I move the camera. Will I move? Will I move the camera? I move the camera. Okay. Oh well, it's getting real fresh in here. You guys got to see a different side of Will. Now it's all delayed, so the radio people have no idea what's going on. But
I put a nip up there.
I know. I was gonna say. I thought you were trying to move the camera. I was like, no, Will. I move the camera.
Is that illegal?
I have the camera move. I don't know.
Can I show my nip on YouTube?
I don't.
I'm looking at the replay right now. What's the
Yeah.
delay?
I was
Oh,
gonna say,
you
I don't-
can't even see it.
Yeah, well, that might be for the best. I don't know how monetization works for it, but
Monetization.
well, we have enough. I know that. Once you get over 1,000 followers or subscribers, thank you to our 1.6K followers.
Really? You get money after that?
You can if you
Yeah,
don't
oh, you
get like
can?
copy. Yeah, it's a whole thing. You got to be careful, like the music you play. Like that's why the YouTube listeners and Twitch
Oh.
listeners get upset. They're like, I miss the first 20, 30 seconds of the segment. It's like, yeah, because you got to make sure that the music comes down so we don't get copyright, so that
Oh my
we
goodness.
could, in theory, get money from it. I don't know that we do necessarily. That's above my pay grade. But from all the YouTube videos that I've watched, every time I've thought about starting a YouTube page.
Yeah. Yeah. The one thing I will tell you is, and I hope this doesn't disappoint you, but every single time I've worked here for close to 10 years now. And every time there's talk of we could make money from this, we never make money from it. And I heard this too when the YouTube thing came up, and Boss Man was like, "Yeah, it's a good like revenue stream. We could get some revenue going through that." I was like, "We won't get revenue through that.
I mean, you can.
I
I don't
literally
know.
never see a dime." Ever.
Well, we won't, but the station could.
Oh, that's right. Yes,
I was
The
gonna
station.
I was gonna say, because like there's ad space on there, and then once you get your 1,000 subscribers and you get a certain amount of views, there's ad space that gets charged like from YouTube that gets paid back to you.
Yeah.
It's a lot less than you'd think. There is a teacher that I do work with that yeah, she is Instagram famous.
Oh, is she? What does she do? What's her slant?
She's it's a teacher Instagram page. So like they go
Oh.
in there and like they don't show any pictures of the kids or anything like
Mhm.
that. But what they do is they like, hey, these are the lesson plan that I'm having, or this is my classroom, or these are the things that I'm doing. This is that. And I could not tell you how much she makes off that, but she's famous enough to where she makes some kind of money on it. Not enough to quit teaching, but
Yeah, but it does
some kind of something.
Yeah, I just I think the one thing about being an influencer that I would fail at really hard, because the one prevailing kind of theme I've noticed through all of them
Mm-hmm.
is that they try to have kind of like a real positive outlook.
You have to.
Yeah, you have to, right?
You
Now,
have
see,
to.
that exactly right there is a good way to put it down. You have to have a positive outlook. I guarantee you 97% of the day for those people is not positive. I guarantee it, dude. I don't gamble and I abhor it, but I would put money on that.
Yes.
And the problem is that I couldn't fake it that long. I could do it a week. It would take it out of me, but I could do it a week. But then that Monday when I got on for whatever BS episode or video I had to do, it would slip out somehow. And then like somebody would give me a comment and I'd be like, well, what do I care what you think?
Right.
And then it was just little bits like that. And then it would start to kind of roll into like me giving personal attacks at people. And it just wouldn't work. It also wouldn't work because I don't think I'm an entertaining enough person to actually make money off of being an influencer. Why would people want to watch me wake up, work out, go to work, repeat, and try to be a parent?
I don't know, man. It's a big thing out there. Also, those people usually there's like a fake niceness to it. I just think that they don't look at the comment. Like I think they just post and don't look. Because if you have like this irrational confidence, just like the same as your buddy that's always trying to hook up with girls.
Yeah.
You always have a buddy in the friend group that is just like, doesn't matter. Life is going great for me. I don't care what you think. I don't care what you say. Life is amazing.
Yeah.
And I'm amazing. And everyone who's around me is amazing. And I just think that those are the people who usually turn into the influencers, or it's the people who really don't care and are like, well, this is kind of fun. Like, I'm into weightlifting and I'm also into videography.
Yeah.
And so then
And
you
personal
find Sam
development.
Sulek.
Have you ever read Atomic Habits?
No.
Oh man, you got to read that book.
Is
That's
that
basically what everyone tells me online.
I was gonna say, is that like some Ayn Rand thing?
It's just it's this self-help book about.
Oh yeah, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, it's
No.
a self-help book
No.
about basically like the little changes that you make in life can create these big atomic habits that turn into the. You want to know? You want to know the secret? You don't have to read that book. I'll tell you what it is. Stop drinking, go to bed early, work out. Literally, if you do all of that,
Your life
and
will
drink
be
more
better.
water, your life will get better.
Your life will be better.
Literally do all 4 of those things. Your life will immediately get better within like 2 weeks.
Did you guys have to do that as a team at Oregon State?
Oh, like read one of those books?
We
or-
did.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah.
No, I don't think I
didn't
ever
read a
read
page.
anything.
Didn't read a page. I spark noted everything. No, and I know what I like. I feel bad, and I know what the coach was like trying to do, but I forget what it was called, but it was as soon as he pitched it and like
In your
like-
head, you go, I'm not reading that.
yeah, well, it was like I was like a captain. I was leading discussion groups, and it was like I forget what it was called, but it was like I don't know. It had some kind of coin thing.
Yeah.
But the whole bit of it was just like, you just gotta put in a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more. And then by the end, you won't even recognize yourself. And it's like, this is stupid. Everybody knows this. You're not telling me anything that I don't know. I just choose to do these other things because they're way more fun. You know what isn't fun on Saturday night? Telling your boys, no thanks, gotta get my 8 hours. I'm gonna go to bed
Get
at
your
10.
8 hours in.
Got to make sure that I get up early. Have you seen the influencers? And we're way over, but I don't care. Have you seen the influencers
Go off.
that claim that they have like 2 days in a day or 3 days in a day? Have you
does that
you
mean?
like stumbled upon this?
What is that?
Okay, so there's this new like Instagram, TikTok influencer page
Okay.
where dudes will basically say they get so much work done in a 12-hour period that it's equivalent to everyone else's 24. So it'll be like, I went to sleep for 4 hours from midnight to 4, and then I got up and I grinded until noon, and then that's a day for me. And then I took a nap for 2 hours, and then I grinded again, and I hit all these marks, and I did the same amount of work that you would do in 24 in 12. And so now I'm a full day ahead of you. By the end of the week, I'm 7 days ahead of you.
Yeah.
By the end of the year, I'm a whole year ahead of you.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
The
a,
worst.
It's a competition. at
The
all times.
worst.
Yeah. I think as you get older, you start to kind of realize as your priorities kind of tentacle out, or you start having some conflicting interests in what you do in life, you start to kind of realize that, like, you're not really in a competition with anyone.
No.
At all.
Like in no way, shape, or form.
Especially when you have a kid. Once you have a kid, that mindset goes out the window. Unless you're like a paid athlete and that's your thing, and like you live in a vacuum for 9 months out of the year.
Right.
And then the other 3, like, all right, I guess I got a parent. No, if you're a regular person, once you have the kid, it's like that's your responsibility and that's what you do. And then the whole idea of like, it's like, I'm going to outwork, I'm going to out competitive. No, I want to get to the end of the day, please.
Yeah.
I'm almost there. It's 8:00. I would just like to sit on my couch, have The Office in the background. I'm not watching it. The audio's on, and I just want to space out, please.
Just hang out.
We got a real positive show today.
It's like, this is what I have to look forward to. Maybe it's a good thing I turned that person down last night.
Oh, okay. So guess what? I'm into baseball.
Let's do it.
I'm trying this year. I picked the Orioles as my team. You can you can kind of dig into me all you'd like on that pick. I've had a couple people tell me like bad pick. You should have picked another team. I'd like your opinion. I'd also like to know how you feel about the Mariners so far. I haven't watched them yet, but I believe you and I are going to do this show again next week. Is that right?
I'm down to do
Yes.
it.
So, the Friday Night Baseball next week is the doubleheader of the Orioles. I think we play the Brewers and then the Mariners and Cubs.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna have a doubleheader where
That'd
we
be
can
great.
watch each other's team.
Oh boy.
See, and as I say that, this is like the book, right? The book example. I said that, and I could even tell in your head, you go, "I'm not gonna watch that,"
I might watch.
and I'm not mad at all.
I might
just
tune on the Mariners.
It's just you and I share a brain of this age right now.
We're wills.
You and I were very similar in this way because I said it and I looked at you in the face. And I could just tell there was this like, nah, I'm not going to do that. It's very well meaning that he wants to do that. I'm just not going to do that. No, thank you. And that's okay. But we'll get into that at some point. Get into the NBA playoff picture, which is starting to kind of form a bit. The Lakers are locked in a play-in spot, which is kind of funny. A little Blazers talk. Also, the idea that the Kansas City Chiefs might move to Dallas, which was like a head scratcher. They want two teams. I don't know.
Because the other one was doing so well.
I know. Kind of odd. But where we begin, last night, quite honestly, some of the best basketball I've watched in a year and a half. This is the Sinner and the Saint, Will Squared edition right here on 1080 The Fan. to behold the UConn Iowa game. My mother was texting me about it. She was in on it. My mom hates sports, but she likes women. She likes women in sports.
Shouts out women.
Yeah. Shout out to the women, but shout out to that game last night. My friend, that was one of the more exciting basketball games I have watched in a very long time.
I stopped what I was doing.
Yes.
Make sure I could see the entire thing.
Iowa ended up winning in the end, 71-69 over UConn, which if you watched most of the game, you kind of walked away thinking, boy, Iowa stole that one. UConn was in control most of the game.
Right.
It looked early on that Caitlin Clark's ride was, kind of hopping off, that this would somewhat be the end. She wasn't playing great in the first half, picked it up later in the second half. But I think what a lot of people are kind of focusing on, which I do love, is that every sport needs this moment to start to shine and rise, and it is controversy. And though there are some people coming out talking about this offensive play call, this illegal screen that a UConn player put out there, they speak about it kind of in negative terms of like, let the players play. Why is this happening? You ruined a perfectly good game of this happening. It's like, yes, in some senses, it was a stupid call, especially with 3 seconds left.
It's a little ticky-tacky.
Maybe let it go. It's a Final Four game. But now you have set the stage for this kind of moment, this moment of controversy that everything can surround itself around. It's not completely similar, but it kind of gave me hints and whispers of the Fab Five and Chris Webber's phantom timeout.
Yeah.
And it made me think about that, is that like that right there is a anchor point for men's college basketball. You can come up to most anybody that's had like a little whiff of men's college basketball in their lives, and you can mention that, and they'll go, yes, I am somewhat familiar with that. Or the Christian Laettner game winner. They'll go, yes, I'm somewhat familiar with that. This is something that you can build off of, that people will go, yes, I'm somewhat familiar with that. That was Caitlin Clark's last season where she balled the F out, and they barely sneaked by a UConn team with a just stupid call.
Right. Well, and it was the return of Paigey Buckets, and UConn took Paige over Caitlin, and it's her getting her revenge. I think no matter how it ended, though, that this was going to be controversial because it is Caitlin Clark, and that just kind of seems to be what she does now, which ironically, it seems more like it's people that are just trying to find something to be mad about. Like early on in the year, when the court storming happened at Ohio State, it was like she flopped. It's like, well, she wasn't looking, the fan wasn't looking, they ran into each other. Stuff happens. It's in the first round, she gets mad, so she headbutts a ball. Can she be controlled? What's going on? She's telling her dad to shut up in the stands. Like, how many times did you tell your dad to shut up in the stands? Because I know I did it. I know I told my parents to shut up at different points when I was upset. I told coaches to shut up. I told teammates to shut up. It happens. It's part of the game. You passionate.
Shut up!
Right. You're passionate. You play. For whatever reason, she seems to draw up a lot of controversy, whether it's people really like her or people really don't like her or want to find a way to downplay her. She gets eyeballs. And so I feel like whether this game ended, let's say they don't call the foul there on UConn and Paige Buckers hits the three-pointer and they win that game.
Yeah.
You are going to go and they're going to talk about that last Iowa possession where Caitlin Clark, the double came, she dishes the ball out to her teammate.
That's right.
The right play, and her teammate ends up turning the ball over. She would have gotten skewered, and it would have been, you are the star player. You have to shoot despite the fact that you're going to have 8 hands in your face and 3 people wide open. It's
Live
the
up
same
to the
stuff.
moment, dog.
It's the same stuff that happens to LeBron. And if Buchers misses that three-pointer, then it's going to be, well, Paigey Buckets isn't good enough to compete with Caitlin. Like this, see, they should have taken Caitlin, or it'll be Caitlin barely got away with it. It's just going to be controversial no matter what she does.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. And I think that the reason that she, creates this huge reaction out of a lot of people. Now, one kind of objected or I guess more or kind of hard reason that you can say she has, all this controversy surrounding herself is what happened last year with her and Angel Reese in the title game. Was that, Angel Reese got a bunch of flack from fans and media about, mocking Caitlin Clark using her own celebration and everything, and everybody came after Angel Reese. But of course, the double standard there was that Caitlin Clark gets up in everybody's face. She celebrates all the time.
Right.
I don't blame Clark for that, because of the fact that even after the game, she goes, no, of course she should have celebrated. They were winning. They beat us. What do you want me to tell you? We're competitors. This happens. And I think that what's really messing with people's heads is the fact that you have somebody in Caitlin Clark who has a mentality of an elite athlete. And we haven't really seen that publicly from a women's player in a very long time. Maya Moore's probably the last one that I can think of, or that I was aware of, that acted like this, that acted ruthless in the way that she wanted to win. She wanted to compete. She wanted to be the best player out there. And the fact that now everybody's kind of like putting a spotlight on it and saying, oh boy, she should, she should stop being so, whatever it is, mean or
act like you've been there before.
Yeah, act like, be more respectful.
The sanctity of the game.
Why do you think she's one of the best basketball players in college history? Because of that ruthlessness.
Right.
That's how she plays. I mean, it's not only just the fact that she can shoot from the logo, or that she just has an offensive versatility that, we haven't seen in so long. It's the fact that she has this attitude of like, I'm going to go out and destroy you, and I'm going to do it just systematically. It's going to happen over a game. My team's really not that great. Like, Iowa as a squad, they're not that good.
Right.
Yeah. Caitlin Clark runs that team. And, last night was just the perfect kind of crescendo to, and, hopefully you get it with South Carolina and Iowa, that it'll be even better.
That's going to be a great game, because it's truly the number one team versus the number one player.
Yeah.
And who can overcome who. But I also think for women's sports, I think this is a good thing in the long run, because we are starting to see them as athletes, which I'm sure that there were people before that were, and I'm sure that like now we'll get tweets or texts or messages.
You will,
right?
Because you're sexist.
Yeah, exactly.
You
I will
SOB.
be. I am a sexist. I am a piece of garbage. How dare I?
I thought I was going to come in here and I was going to get some socially conscious commentary.
I know.
From a bro who not only respects women,
from a Zoomer,
but from a Zoomer who not only should respect women,
I know,
but should put them up and try.
You just can't see, but I think this is good, because the stuff that now there are some things that people are just going to hate Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese and Haley Van Lith and Paige Buckets and Cameron Brink, just because they are that, right? But I do think it is good for a sport to have people that hate others in their sport just because of the way that they play. People hated Kobe for trash talking. People hated Randy Moss for celebrating when he'd score touchdowns. People, you go down the line, you can find these stars where people hated them because of the way they played the game.
Yeah.
And you're starting to kind of get that. Now, some people clearly are taking it much, much, much too far. But the best thing for the women's game, not just basketball, but sports in general, is having that irrational hatred of someone just because they play for the other side.
It was my feeling about Kobe Bryant.
You hated Kobe, but if Kobe was a Blazer, you would have loved.
Oh, I wouldn't shut up about Kobe Bryant. Today.
I loved Russell Wilson on the Seahawks.
Yeah.
The minute he left, he's corny. He's a cornball. I don't like that dude. He's weird.
Yeah.
When he was winning Super Bowls in Seattle, that's my favorite player. One of my top all-time Seahawks. He's this. He's that. That's what sports need. Like, you need people to hate Caitlin Clark just because she's doing it in a brash way. And that's good for the sport, I truly think.
I do too. I'm with you on that. Yeah, it was great. It was a great moment. It was just a great sports moment. And it was badass, dude. It was cool to see stuff come down to the wire like that. So, yes, stoked for the title game. I think South Carolina will beat the ever-living S out of Iowa. That team's frightening.
They're deep.
Yes, they're all good.
Cardoza, I think is her name.
Yes.
She's huge.
Yes.
She's a monster.
It's very much like the UConn team on the men's side. They are all just very good at basketball.
And they're coached by one of the best in
yes.
The industry. One of the best to ever do it.
So I'll forego the Final Four talk because I haven't watched any of it. Have you watched some?
I've watched like every game, dude.
Oh, you have?
I love.
Could you carry
March
a segment, you think?
I could do all right. Yeah.
You could do?
Yeah, I could do all right.
Because we could get it out of the way now,
we
so
can
then
talk
an hour or
some
two we can talk NBA, Blazers, and baseball.
I'm down. Let's do it.
Okay, let's go ahead. All right. That's what we're gonna do next. Will Ortner is gonna carry this next segment, and I'm gonna wade through the waters of a sport that I devalue at this point. This is the Sinner and the Saint on 1080 The Fan. But first, here's some news. Hey, Chance.
Yeah.
Headlining the 2024 Hall of Fame class.
We had the same news story.
Our very own Chauncey Billups.
Hey, I think that means he deserves another year.
You think so?
That right there.
That's
two.
fine with me.
You know what? Extend him. Contract extension. Give him more money.
Just a lot of faith in him. That's what we have.
He's a Hall of Famer. Those
Yeah.
always work as coaches.
You know what's interesting is look, he'll get fired. But after he gets fired, I think he'll probably be a pretty good coach somewhere else. I mean, in all objective terms, that guy walked in one of the worst situations you could ever walk into.
Right. But also, like, it's the NBA. If you just get put in the right situation, don't you by default kind of become a good coach?
Yes.
You know
yes,
what I mean?
you do, Frank Vogel.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. A
David
lot of dudes.
Blatt.
Yeah, a lot of dudes. Yeah. David Blatt. Well, he asked the bed, but
Yeah, but if you look at his record,
Doc Rivers, that's another good one.
he's 15 and 14.
Yeah, well, but he walked into an amazing situation. He walked
After he got his
into
buddy fired.
one of the greatest big threes ever, and he won a
True.
title. And then he
True.
got back there, I think, 09. He got back there 09. I mean, Doc Rivers is a good coach. It's just he's not really as great as people put him up to be.
Gets a little bit of the Sean Payton treatment, I
he's
think.
good. And I mean, that's the same with Chance, is that I think Chance probably anywhere else would be a decent coach. But here, you needed something very special, and
I think he
was. Got it, dog.
I think he was sold a bill of goods, and he got there, and he went,
Yeah.
I should have done the tour.
Yeah,
I shouldn't
have skipped the tour.
Should have put boots on the ground. Should not have just bought straight on Zillow.
That's good. All right. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. Me, your Will Ortner, from 1080 The Fan Sports Desk. Watch or listen. What's the line? You read it. I don't have it. Watch or listen live.
Listen live or on
There it
demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
Your home, your savings, your children. Everything that matters to you is at stake in a divorce.
This Big Will hitting up the California Sperm Bank I keep hearing about. Sounds like a good gig.
What? Am I?
Who's Big Will? Is that you or me?
It's me, but I'm not
Are we sure?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, but I'm not donating. I'm not donating any bodily fluids yet.
You should.
I had an
It's
old
good cash.
I had an old roommate who used to donate plasma to go to like dates with girls. He used one to go to prom with a girl. He was 19.
Okay. That's
we were.
fair.
It was our freshman
That's fair enough.
year. She was a senior, 18.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair. What I will tell you is you should sell your plasma, and then you should pocket that cash.
And gamble it.
Well, don't gamble. Now, what you're gonna want to do is open a Roth IRA and put some money into an ETF called VOO, and you'll get compounding interest of about 7.5% to 12%.
ETF. Is this like Bitcoin?
It's not Bitcoin. It's not Bitcoin.
What's ETF?
ETF. It's like an amalgamation of stocks in the S&P 500.
Okay.
You toss money into
Like a
it and
hedge
you say
fund?
good luck.
Is that what a hedge fund
It's
is?
not a hedge fund. It's not a
Okay.
hedge fund.
No, what? I put money into something like that though.
Did you?
Well, not a Roth IRA. I've never met Roth or his IRA. The only IRA I know is from Peaky Blinders, and I don't know if I
goodness.
want to give them money.
What? You're just like a spitting image of me in my 20s.
Yeah, no,
Have you considered investing? No.
I have a stock guy. I have money in stocks.
Ooh, all right.
I do.
Love it.
Yes. I took the money that was supposed to go to college that thankfully Central Washington paid for because I was good at football.
Nice, dude.
Yeah.
Better than me.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. You went to Oregon State.
Oh, well, no. I mean managing your money.
Oh.
And that's negligible, too, in terms of
I
who's
do
better
okay.
at sports. Okay. What's going on? There's 4 teams left in the men's bracket. This is the final.
For a dem.
This is the final game of them. It's a final 4, if you want to call it that.
Mhm.
UConn seems unbeatable. Zach Edey is very tall.
He's so boring to watch.
Yes, he is.
It's the worst.
Yes. And then I also found out recently that like he hasn't played basketball very long. Like it's only been a couple of
Well, he's
years.
Canadian. He probably was playing hockey.
That big? He's a tall guy.
Mhm.
And then
Lived
you
in
got yourself kind of the Cinderella of sorts in NC State who got hot at the right time. Who are you betting on, Big Will?
Mhm.
And why should I start gambling? Because it seems like UConn's going to win.
Yeah, well, so the beauty is I actually got UConn at 5-1
Okay.
to win the whole thing back right when the Big East tournament started.
Oh, really?
So not as good as what some people have for their futures, but I went out and I put some fun ones down just because
Yeah.
here's why it's UConn. And it sounds like a mark, and I get it, but they have covered all the way up to last year's tournament. They covered every single game that they have played. They have, whatever the spread has been, they have covered it. And then some. I think every single game has been a double-digit win total or win margin, I guess you
Damn.
should say. They have a big guy. They've got Klingon. He's like 7'2", so he can go and match up against DJ Burns or Edey, whoever comes out of that NC State Purdue game. And those two have been dominant. No one has been able to stop Edey without doubling. The minute that you double, he kicks out. And the difference between last year's Purdue team and this year's Purdue team is that their guards can actually hit three-pointers. So when Fairleigh Dickinson last year went in with double team Zach Edey, he'd kick it out, and then they'd brick a
Missed their shot.
three.
Yeah.
And then FDU would get out on the run, and Edey was too slow, and so then you're going 5-on-4. Well, this year, they're hitting their three-pointers, so that's been a big difference. And then with the NC State run, it's been how well DJ Burns has played, and then he's been able to kick it out to the other DJ, I believe it's Horn, and that dude has been raining in threes. Again, defense sucks in on DJ Burns. He's so silky smooth with his footwork because it's very similar to a Zach Randolph style of basketball where he's not jumping up. He's
Yeah.
not blowing by everyone. His just footwork is so much cleaner
my
than
gosh.
everyone else's. He can get to where he wants to and he can make a bucket.
Dude, Zebo Ball was some of my favorite.
Well, it's just pretty. It's
It is.
visually appealing. And then he's like a big dude and he's funny. He sells vending machines. He's awesome. And then whatever song they listen to by Bassman D-Lo or whatever,
Yeah.
it's awesome. They come in, listen to a song. It's great.
I gotta tell you, I think if I had to rank I'm gonna go off slightly. If I had to rank YMCA looking dudes, like
It's him.
I have this kind of subset of NBA players I call like YMCA looking dudes.
Yeah.
It's like they play a style of basketball that you're just like, that looks like some 40-year-old guy I play with at the Y.
Yes.
Like Luka Doncic is a really great example.
Right.
Just looks like he really shouldn't be that good, but he's insane. Zebo's up there all time. He's top 5 easily.
'Cause his
James
game-
Harden up there as well.
Right, because his game translates forever.
Yeah.
It's the guy who can play forever. You look at a guy like Ant Edwards, he's electric. He might be the most fun player to watch in the NBA right now, but he's got 5 to 8 years of this
I know.
style of play before it goes away.
I know.
So if he wants to be great, he has to adapt. Yeah,
Jokic is up there.
yeah, he's gonna play forever, and it
Big
seems
old
to be
dude.
the big guys who don't rely on strength or speed. It's the big guy who just is clean with their footwork. So I don't know. I do think Purdue will beat NC State, but then again, I have basically predicted NC State to lose every game that they've played. So what do I know?
Well, it would be, I guess they're not considered mid-tier because they come from the ACC, but it would be kind of one of the first moments in quite a while that a mid-tier-ish team gets to the final and might surprise us. Of note, Butler 2 times in a row
Right.
many years back was really the last one that comes to memory, at least for me,
Right?
title-wise.
They're a Gordon Hayward, like an inch or two longer 3-pointer, and they win that game. Yeah, a lot of people are also going like Team of Destiny with this NC State team. Feels similar to Valvano's teams,
Yeah.
So there's that. I mean, that being said, if Alabama slows the game down and hits all of their threes, which they can, and they love to shoot threes, they could maybe beat UConn. If they went absolutely nuclear from beyond the arc and they went like 60%, which sounds like a crazy number, but then when you look at this Alabama team, like there's a reason why they score so many points.
Yeah.
Maybe, but no, I think it's UConn, and unless UConn plays a B-C game, I think they run through everybody because they have the one guy that can stop Edey. They have Klingon. He is huge, and he's a really good basketball player, and he's not going to get bullied by Edey. And Edey's 2 inches taller, but he's finally going to have someone that's actually his size that could be in his face, and then UConn will just run him out of the gym.
It also does feel like the NCAA did Purdue a solid up until this point in terms of like, hey, we know that you've tried to get to the Final Four many times before and it didn't work, even though we've tried to help you. We're going to give you all the help in the world this time. It feels like they haven't really played anybody of extreme consequence, though I know they were famously knocked out last year pretty early, but
Right.
like, it seems like they've had the easiest road thus far, and now it's finally like, okay, look, this is as far as we can take you. Like,
Well, and
because they know Zach Edey's pretty much the biggest ticket, media-wise, for this sport that is atrocious now.
And the way he's officiated, like he gets to the line so much. Like
You gotta see
Gonzaga,
it.
that
Yeah.
game was even until the second half, and Gonzaga starts getting in foul trouble and completely changed the game. So that would be the only way that Purdue would beat UConn, would be if they somehow were able to have Zach Edey have no fouls.
Yeah.
But Klingon had like 3.
The Vancouver
first
Ford text line 503-864-6326 is reminding me that San Diego State was actually in the title game last year. Quote, "You morons."
Who'd you say was in the... Did we mention last year's title game?
No, we didn't. That's on us.
Or
Sometimes,
morons?
sometimes we make mistakes.
It must be the will.
Yeah, it's probably the will squared that's happening right now. Look, I got to tell you something. If you're watching men's basketball in any seriousness, seek help.
It's fun.
It's not
Conference
It's
tournament week
horrible
to the championship
It's horrible
is
basketball.
fun. It's
It
fun.
is-
I
It
enjoy
is atrocious, unmotivated basketball.
fun. I stand by this. It's fun.
Well, that's why they call it a sports show. You and I could debate about this all day, couldn't we?
That's what we should do the whole second hour. Just, is it fun or not? Sports
Is college
edition.
basketball fun or not? Men's college basketball fun or not? I would. I think I might pass out if we did that for the whole second hour.
Just sat there. It's fun. No, it's not. It's fun. Here's why it is fun. 15 million, Will.
Let me direct you to this PowerPoint. Okay. Hour 2. We got to get back on track here. Hour 2, Trailblazers. A little trip around what's been going on with them lately. Also, the NBA playoff picture. I want to get into a little bit of baseball. I want to hear how the Mariners are doing. I will give you an Orioles update, and that will be kind of an odd dynamic there. And then the Chiefs might go to Dallas, perhaps, though this is kind of an odd story, and it also goes into the idea of, like, hey, should we maybe invite the Chiefs over here to Portland? I'm just kidding. We're not going to talk about that. But we will talk about more coming up in the next segment, which is good versus evil. That's right here on the Sinner and the Saint, 1080 The Fan.
Diagnose whatever it is that's gone wrong with him in Buffalo and Minnesota and work your way around it and make him happy. Make him want to be there. Make him want to give his all.
There's what happens when you bring an old loaf of bread to life, Mike Florio. Big trade went down in the NFL this week. Buffalo Bills sent their number 1 wide receiver and pain in the ass, Stephon Diggs, and a couple of draft picks to the Texans for, a second-round pick. It had been going around for some time that Diggs wanted out of Buffalo. His brother, Trayvon, wrote on social media that Stephon should just get up on out of there. How much better does this make the Texans? And do you now have bigger expectations for the team?
I think it's a very smart move by the Texans because they also ended, basically his contract ends at the end of this year. They got rid of the last 3 years. So you're basically taking a flyer on Stephon Diggs. Stephon Diggs had been a legit 1A, depending on the team, 1B type receiver. You're going to now put him to where he can teach Tank Dell and Nico Collins. He can help your wide receiver core that's young, build. Plus, he becomes a number one option for CJ Stroud. But if he performs like he did last year with Buffalo, where it was very lackluster, or he's a malcontent because he's been traded now twice in his prime, you can get out of this contract. If it's, hey, he is not going to be a number one guy, let him walk. If he's out there causing a bunch of issues for you, let him walk. And if he succeeds, then you just re-up and give him the money, because you can right now, because your star quarterback is so young and so underpaid. I love the move. And then if you're Buffalo, you had to get rid of him. He was a malcontent. You don't have any money. Get rid of him. Hit in the draft, and build back this team up so that you can go and challenge again for a title. Because I think with Allen, you're always in a Super Bowl window.
That's very true. And then also with a division that most likely you will have a great chance of winning this next season, as the Pats will look down. The Jets, I have no confidence in. And the Dolphins, that's your big threat. So, it's a wide receiver rich draft. So
do it.
Interesting.
You'd kind of mentioned before the game that, if you're not ready to play in the NBA, you're going to lose.
Yeah.
Did you feel like that's kind of what happened?
I don't know. I just think they outplayed us. Give them credit. I thought they were faster, quicker. They attacked. We took 2 days off, for a reason, to get our legs, and I felt like we were very sloppy. That may have something to do with it.
There's a guy who continually gets jobs based off something he did one time back in the late 2000s, Doc Rivers. The Knicks announced that they have lost Julius Randle to the shoulder injury for the rest of the season, including the playoffs. Bucks lost again to a terrible team this week, this time to the Grizzlies, following their loss to the Wizards. And I believe they also lost to the Raptors last night, who the Raptors broke their 15-game losing streak. So there's that. The Orlando Magic are now just 2 games behind Milwaukee for the 2nd seed, after beating New Orleans this past week. And in fact, that might have changed. What is the most surprising of those 3 developments?
You see the Orlando Magic?
Yeah, they might be the 2 seed.
That's the most surprising.
2 seed.
That's the most surprising, because Paolo's awesome, right? But other than, Jalen Suggs plays good defense, but
they
he's not
all
as
play
good
good defense. They're ranked
offense as you thought.
second in almost every major defensive category in the NBA.
The Wagners are hard to guard because
Yes.
they can shoot, they're long and lanky, and they're super quiet. Because, usually, so Minnesota, for example, they were a team that last year they were right in the play-in games, right? Now this year they're exploding, but they're exploding because Ant Edwards took the next step, and you hear about them all the freaking time. You never hear about Orlando.
No.
So to me, it's like Paolo is improving, but he's improving at the rate that he's supposed to. Suggs is kind of figuring it out. The Wagners have always been point getters, but how well do they do in other spots? That's the most surprising, because you never hear about it. The Bucks, it takes time to build chemistry. You don't just throw Damian Lillard in and all of a sudden you're the best thing since sliced bread. The other issue is halfway through the year, you fired your coach. So yeah, you're going to have weird struggles, and you're going to have even more, I think, because of all the different coaching changes. Plus, I don't think Doc is that good. So it's got to be Orlando. Coolest thing ever.
It is cool. Super cool. All right, time for my favorite story of the week. This one comes from the UK. All right.
Ooh, what's going on out in UK?
It's the UK, huh? That's my South African accent. Have you ever heard it?
No, but again, Peaky Blinders I've been watching. Really into Irish.
Oh, Irish,
Irish
huh?
accent, yep.
It seems like every single time I try to do British or Irish or anything, it always goes to South African.
Yeah, I don't try accents, but I do listen to the Cranberries more now. Because she's Irish.
Okay. A British great-grandfather who recently became the world's oldest man, that's 111 years old,
Congrats.
has said that his weekly fish and chips are the key to longevity.
I like how whenever one of these stories comes out, it's just like they pick one thing that everyone's like, that's not that great for you. And they're like, yes, that's why. Like my daily 2 cigarettes in the morning and at night. That has been what's kept me living long.
What is it? What's been your secret to live to 120 years old? What are you tapping into? Snort, blow.
Big fan of Molly.
Very much just puts me in a chipper mood. I have no idea how people can watch and intake like self-help influencers anymore when you hear stories like this. Now, this shouldn't just make you be a fatalistic person in regards to your health, because there are things that you can do in terms of preventative maintenance to make sure that very preventable diseases don't get you before you can make it into a retirement age. But this right here should give you every indication that like sometimes genetics is just on your side.
Yeah.
Sometimes this person, I'm guessing, probably didn't do anything too risky with his body as he
Right.
went forward. Usually if you make it past 100, you've lived a relatively normal life up until that point. But yeah, fish and chips every single day, apparently,
That's awesome.
at this point, has gotten this man to 111 years old. He was born in 1912, the same
Shout
year the
out.
Titanic sank.
Shout out.
He met Queen Elizabeth twice.
Dude, that guy saw the Dust Bowl. That guy saw Black Tuesday.
He probably didn't see the Dust Bowl. He lives in Britain.
That's right. He probably doesn't even know what it is.
The Dust Bowl? It's a dusty bowl, it is.
All the things from the We Didn't Start the Fire song. He saw.
Dude, and this guy retired in the 70s after working on a Shell and BP. Or no, he was an accountant. Okay, he didn't
Oh.
live a risky life.
I was gonna say, do you think he's like run out of money now? He's like, crap.
111.
His like grandkids are like, we gotta keep paying grandpa's
Yeah.
bills.
Yeah, I mean, that is kind of the scary part about the whole retirement thing, right? Like you and me, like we're not going to have retirement money, which is slightly frightening.
That's why I don't plan for retirement.
You just have to hope that we get some Hail Mary from Social Security. But like
I do lots of parlays.
you hope that you can have enough to at least live an okay life into those ages.
Right.
But like I have said this to my wife before too. I was like, if I'm 85 and still alive, like I'm just gonna go do something risky as hell because we're not gonna have enough money to live.
Might as well.
And she's like, don't say that. Like we'll have Social Security. I was like, it won't be enough. I was like, we should just do it because we're relatively the same age. I was like, if we hit 85, let's just go skydiving.
That'd be sick.
Screw it.
Yeah,
Who cares?
whatever.
Just blow all of our money on crazy stuff. Let's go cliff jumping.
Like,
I don't care.
let's go have a good time.
I won't be
Let's
able
go
to afford
Prague.
anything after that point.
Let's go to Prague. Might
Let's
as
go
well.
to Prague.
Vancouver Ford text line, P1 Rufio. There's that 100-something-year-old woman who claims her 3 Dr. Peppers a day keep the doctors away.
No, it's called genetics, man.
Yeah, I'm screwed. I'm gonna die at like 70.
Why?
I played football and I'm tall.
That doesn't matter.
Tall people don't last a long time. Football players don't last a long time.
No.
And
But
now
you got out before the really bad part.
I don't know. Yeah, I have no
Dude,
surgeries.
pro. Yeah, see, and I'm on the same with you. And I've kind of started to put this together too. I think it's the dudes that like play pro for like 3+ years. I think those are the ones where like by the time you're 60, like you can't remember your name. College, you could probably make it to 70 before you're like yelling at your wife because you think
You
she's the
can't figure
president or
stuff out.
something.
Yeah.
Like,
You're like, there's all kinds of things.
Yeah.
No, I think I've come to terms with like I'm just gonna say 70, and then if I beat 70, it's like I beat a goal. Maybe I'll make it like 65. And then
65.
if I beat 65, everyone will be like, he lived longer than he wanted to. Like I'm a big like reach your goals guy, a little
Reach
bit
your
like
goals.
A-Rod, where A-Rod like every morning he writes down like make coffee, drink coffee, and then he crosses them off, and they're on like his goal check sheet. Maybe that's what I should do with my life. Like
don't do that.
live to 55. Check.
Alex Rodriguez sounds bored if that's what he's doing with his life.
Well, he's
It
got
must
enough
be
money
working.
he's got enough money to retire,
That's true.
unlike us.
I'm just bitter.
I want to retire too.
I just want to retire. All right, that's your Good versus Evil. It's brought to you by 808, the Titan of Hawaiian restaurants. Visit them at ate-oh-ate.com. Coming up in hour 2, a little bit of a Blazers recap of the week that was, and also just where we stand as a franchise. Look at the NBA playoff picture, and also some baseball talk. All that coming up in hour 2 of a Will Squared edition of Sinner and the Saint right here on 1080 The Fan. At the ripe old age of 39, he said, "I'm going to rediscover myself."
Do you think those actually work? Do you think anyone has ever
probably.
like gone on a trip of discovery and actually been like, you know what?
Well,
I
Steve
found
Jobs did. He went to India and then he came back and basically just sold computers. Please read Walter Isaacson's book about Steve Jobs. It will inform you that he was just a salesman. That was it.
He was just like,
He literally
I'm
was just a
pretty
salesperson.
sick at this stuff.
Yeah, well, no, he had a really talented and incredibly smart friend in Steve Wozniak and was like, "Hey, you're good at programming this. Let's sell it." And then people just assumed like he was the guy who was behind it all. It's like, no, not really.
I want a job like that.
You can just be
Word.
super confident
Yeah.
and get to be friends with somebody who's insanely talented.
See, but again, well, all my friends are medium talented. And I also don't think I have the confidence or the narcissism to take credit for their inventions.
Yes, you do.
I don't know, dude. It's not in there for me.
The Portland Trailblazers won their second straight game last night. Let's go.
Catch the fever.
Let's go.
And in the year on a high note, this is what we wanted.
2 straight. Hornets, Wizards. Those are the worst teams in the league. So we're at kind of now the point of this year is almost over. And we didn't do well this season.
We weren't supposed to.
Oh, is that right? Oh.
You
I
were-
wasn't aware of that, actually.
You were supposed to suck.
Oh, we were?
Yeah.
Is that why we went and got DeAndre Ayton and Malcolm Brogdon and like all those role players to help our superstar rookie like move along and not be horrible?
Well, it's very similar. Like, we didn't go and do a whole tour of the facility, but has been dominating at the end of the year. He wasn't dominating at the beginning, ice storms and such.
Right. So we made a trade, right? We traded our franchise and most likely most popular player in team history.
Yeah.
Not for all assets, but for players.
Yep.
So let me ask you something. Does that sound like a team that's tanking?
Yeah, but here was the thing, though. They were trying to use those pieces to get a bunch of assets. They're doing the Jim Halpert in The Office where he shows up with the magic, or it's Dwight. Dwight shows up with like one piece of item at the flea market,
Right, yeah.
and he sells and
Keep going
sells
and
and
going.
sells and sells until he gets the biggest thing. That's what you were trying to do. The problem is you fell into Jim's trap and you bought the legumes
Okay.
at the end.
I guess I'm kind of confused. And again, maybe I don't understand the whole picture. But I guess I'm kind of confused because it seems like, what you would want to do, and this has traditionally worked.
Right.
Example A, the Oklahoma City Thunder,
Right.
is that you build draft capital
Right.
over a long period of time. And then as time goes, you use that draft capital either to draft players or to package it to get better players. It seems like what they did at the beginning of the season or near that was they said, well, we think Scoot Henderson's going to be really good. And he needs to have 1 year of good development and not a lost year, because that can be detrimental to a rookie in any sport if you have a very, very bad first season,
Yeah.
which he has had. Yes, he has. I think he broke the record for worst plus minus.
Yeah.
Two times.
Yeah.
He was below 50.
Yes, he's had some struggles, but
He's not been good at all.
he's had good moments. And then
Right. But not good overall, though.
Right. But again, Danny posted this, and I'm going to choose to look at it glass half full.
Okay.
When you compare his rookie numbers to De'Aaron Fox's and to it's the kid in Cleveland, Darius
Garland?
Garland. Thank you. When you compare, basically Scoot wins, he averages more points, more assists, more rebounds than those two, if I remember right. Then De'Aaron Fox had better shooting percentages, better, like he was a more efficient player, is basically what it was. And then when you looked at advanced metrics, Garland was better.
Yeah.
So if you look at all three of those guys, it's a very similar rookie year. The numbers are all around the same. One was a little bit better in advanced, one was a little bit more efficient, and then one was better in overall stats, right? For me, if I'm going to look at this glass half full, because I am, and yes, I have been a little disappointed in how Scoot has played. If I'm glass half full, if he can turn into a Darius Garland worst case, a De'Aaron Fox best case, that's a damn good player. Garland is a guy who is knocking on the door of being an all-star. De'Aaron Fox is an all-star. Is he in that tier 1 superstar? No. But is he probably around that tier 2? Yeah. And if you can get Scoot to be that, and you can mix other players around him, when Sharp has been healthy, Sharp has been absolutely electric, and he plays a different style. If you can get Ayton to play at his peak, he's a pretty special player. So there are some bones around it. The problem is that this year you just ran into so many different injury issues that it just got worse and worse and worse and worse. But you still have good picks this year. I know it's not the best draft, but you're going to have an opportunity for some good picks. And next year it's not going to be much better, but it's a better draft. Maybe you get lucky with the lottery balls. Maybe there's a frozen envelope or something. Hell, Bronny's coming out. Just go take him. LeBron will come and play with him. Why can't that work?
Oh, believe you me, we have lobbied for that on this show many times. We really have, because quite honestly, there isn't really a lot. I'm slightly worried. I'm getting now to the point of not anger, though I am angry at the team.
Right.
I'm getting to the point of worry because it's starting to kind of look like it might get to the point where people will become apathetic. And it really, I mean,
You don't think they were before?
no, I think people,
Even as a glass half full guy, I kind of feel like guys were before.
well, no, I mean the fans.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, I think fans are getting and will get. Now I know the TV ratings have been atrocious. Now I will also attribute that to the fact that they effed people over in terms of making Root Sports I think premium cable package.
Well, and half the time you're on Root Sports Plus because there's Kraken coverage or
Yep,
now
that's
Mariners coverage.
Yes. So that has been very annoying. But I think that you're going to get a fan base that will be similar to what happened with the Jailblazers in the early 2000s to mid 2000s. And I lived through that as a kid, but also very aware of what was going on because I was a kid of the 90s, man. The Trailblazers were my jam, dude. Like all the way up until that apex of 2001, it was just like that team. I followed it, and it got really, really bad. And Paul Allen was not the greatest owner at that time, but he waded through the waters well enough to be able to recognize that we got to tear it down. We have to make this a complete, like, organized way of going about how we want to do this. And he executed very well at a time where they could have very easily lost the team. There were 500 level seats that were going for, I think, $1.10 at the time. Or a 300 level, sorry. They were going for like $1.10, $1.50. And I remember the articles in the Oregonian talking about, like, will this team sell? And the fear of it was that Paul Allen was a Seattle guy. And he was somebody who just kind of looked at it and was like, well, I hear there's a little bit of rumor that, you know, the Sonics might get booted and they're going to get a Midwest team or somewhere else. I might just move them up.
Right.
Because I don't know if I really want to stick around here if this is going to be the case. And we're kind of starting to enter those waters again, because I will tell you, Jody Allen and the Vulcans will not be owners of this team forever. They're legally obligated to not be.
Right.
And I think that unless you get somebody like, say, Phil Knight or some mystery private investor who's very, very wealthy, who has local connections, this team might move. And they might move very quickly because of the fact that you look at this city and you just say, where is the potential? Stadiums now and sports franchises have to be embedded in a way in cities that have to make sense for not only the franchise and the fans, but economically. And unfortunately, the way things are structured right now, the city of Portland does not and will not support a professional sports franchise and its economic ambitions. It does not want to. Now, there are some good reasons for that, one of which being the whole baseball to Portland PDX crap. It doesn't work because of the fact that you would have to lean on the city to bankroll transportation to and from the stadium and for other parts of it. They don't want to do it. I mean, I won't comment on if that's good or bad. It's just that's the way it is. And so you're going to get to a point with the Trailblazers where if they sell to a guy or a woman or whoever that is out of town and doesn't really have an attachment to this, they will look at the situation and they'll go, yeah, no, this isn't working. Right. And it's not going to work because new owners tend to have ambitions about what they want to do with a team. And there's not a lot here on the palette. It's shaky, man. The economy here is not doing well. Downtown is dilapidated. Crime is at an all-time high. There's a lot of dysfunction in city council with how they're actually trying to make decisions. A new owner will come in here and go, no, I don't want that. I don't want anything. And if you think Adam Silver will come and save your grits, he will not. Adam Silver is interested in money. And that is where I am at with the Trailblazers now is I'm fearful that if you keep going this way, which is right, we're going to tank next year,
right,
and then maybe the year after that,
probably,
you're going to get people to tune out. And when people tune out, that's when things get at their worst. So
I'm still going to look at it glass half full, but
I respect that.
The beauty is for those that are scared of the sale, she will sell. She has to, but she's going to wait until the very last minute because that's when she'll make the most money. It might be 10 years before she sells this team. Because there's no, you have to sell the team right away.
That's even more frightening.
But if as much as you don't like, as much as people don't like Jody, as much as people don't like Burt Cold, they're smart enough to understand this should be the last asset you sell. This and the Seahawks. You should sell them last because you've seen what NBA and NFL franchises are going for, and it's only going to go up.
Yeah. Save us, Uncle Phil. Okay, coming up next, let's talk some baseball, my friend. I want to hear how the Mariners are doing so far. I'll give you an Orioles update if you care. And I will tell you about my fandom so far, as this is the first year I'm trying to follow baseball. And I like it. This is the Sinner and the Saints, Will Squared, here on 1080 The Fan. and like it. And I like it. I like it a lot. I follow the Orioles. I chose the team. We spent one whole episode, Luke and I, trying to decide which team I should follow.
Baseball's fun.
Baseball's fun, man. It is fun. I picked the Orioles because I wanted to pick a bandwagon team, but not too bandwagony.
You wanted to pick next up.
Yeah, I wanted to pick next up.
He got next.
Wanted to pick a team that wasn't super depressing. I wanted to pick a team that also wasn't the Astros because
Yeah.
middle finger.
Yeah. Trash cans.
So I landed on the Orioles, and it's been friggin' awesome. We just had a 3-game series with the Royals where we had 2 wins that were walk-offs. One being a walk-off homer and another a walk-off double, which I can't watch the games because I don't have
The app.
yeah, whatever MLB's version of that is. Not League Pass, but is that I don't know what theirs is. Extra innings?
Yeah,
something like
that sounds right. I don't know.
But I do
go
listen
east.
to the games because my wife has Sirius.
Ooh.
And so I get to
Sounds important.
I get to listen to the games, and then I've kind of mapped out a bit where they'll be on Friday Night Baseball and Sunday Night Baseball on national TV, so that's kind of cool. But it's been great, man. 5-2, just beat the Pirates yesterday. I'm loving being an Orioles fan. This is pretty fun.
They're fun. They're exciting. I think they
yeah.
still have another guy or two in the AAAs that are coming
We
up.
have the number 1 prospect in Jackson Holiday, who many fans are a bit perturbed. The fact we didn't call him up at the beginning of the season, though there is some.
You're doing it for his years.
Exactly. There is some control manipulation there that don't be surprised on April 13th if he suddenly gets called up.
Yeah, you didn't need him. That's the thing. You don't totally need him yet.
No.
But you know you're going to want him
the
and use
infield's
him. And
stacked. Yeah.
Yeah.
Infield's stacked. So that might happen at some point. But their AAA team, the Norfolk Tide, are like destroying dudes.
They scored like 29 runs, I think, in a game. It
Yes.
was like, oh my God.
Because they have like 4 guys who should probably be in the league, but are hanging out down there. So it's an interesting time for the Orioles. I want to hear how the Mariners are doing. Now, I am,
good.
from my limited knowledge and trying to just kind of absorb as much as I can, they were supposed to be pretty good this season. I know that the bullpen is pretty stacked and their pitching's pretty good. What's the status?
Status is not good, Bob.
Oh.
Right now they're 3-5 on the year. It started off with a series tie with Boston and Seattle, and then
Boston's playing well.
yeah, and then
5-2.
they've lost 3 straight right now. They won the first game against the Guardians, and
Nice.
three straight losses. The part that sucks is you really thought you had George Kirby on the mound 2
Yeah.
games ago. You really thought like, hey, you know, he's not your ace, but he almost seems more consistent than your ace. You know, like when Luis Castillo's on the mound and he's on, there's no one better than him. But he has these games where he'll be awesome until the 6th, and then he gives up 4 runs.
Yeah.
And so Kirby's more of he's going to come in and he's going to give up 1 or 2, and that's going to be how he is for the most part. And then every once in a while he'll have an absolute dud, and he had an absolute dud.
Yeah.
Gave up 8. And right now you got all these, you didn't spend a lot of money, and you went and you signed a bunch of players who were supposed to be better for you in the long run because they were not going to strike out. That's why you moved on from Kelnick. It's why you moved on from Teoscar Hernandez. It's why you moved on from those guys. And you brought in these new guys, and they strike out at the same rate.
Yeah, it's looking like your bats went a little cold for a while there. 8-0 loss to the Guardians in that last one. And you guys, you got this series with the Brewers here.
Yeah. And then struggled in Milwaukee. And
Yeah.
Seattle's notorious for this. Like the last 2 years before this, they started really slow. And you made it into the playoffs the year before because you had a hot June. And the year after that, you made it as close as you damn near could because you had a really hot July and August.
Yeah.
But can you really rely on that? I don't know. And then you're starting to see
It's the first week of the season, yeah.
right. It's way too early
Yeah.
to be nervous. But I did see this article where they were asking Teoscar because he's been absolutely on a tear right now for LA. And it's like, you know, what's kind of the differences? What's been going on with this? What's going on with that? And he's like, I couldn't pick up the ball in Safeco or T-Mobile, excuse me. He could not pick up the ball when he was at the plate. And then there's this great Twitter follow, the Couch GM dude does a fantastic job with Mariners baseball stuff. He pulled up his splits, right, on Twitter. He was hitting like 217 at home, and on the road he was hitting like 270. At home he had, I think it was like 7 or 8 less RBIs. He had 4 less home runs than
What
he
is
did
that?
on the
What
road.
is he? What is the weather?
He couldn't pick up the ball is what he said. And like I get like maybe like you have less home runs in Seattle because like April through May it's going to be colder, and then September it's going to be colder than maybe you would in like Texas.
Well,
But to have that big of a split difference home and away,
that's
it
odd.
just can't happen.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very odd. You know, the one thing you'll benefit from the AL West is the fact that at least early on, again, this first week of the season, doesn't look great. You know, the A's are the A's, and who cares? Houston has had kind of a surprising start, though. I will say, for the most part, they've faced a buzzsaw to begin with, taking on the Yankees, who look unstoppable for their first series, the lowly Blue Jays, who they did win in that series, and now you're going up against the Rangers, who are you know, the Rangers.
Yeah.
And then, you know, the Angels aren't good, though they might be 4-3 right now. You know, they're just not. I can tell you that from experience listening to and watching highlights of the Orioles series with them. They went 2-for-3 on the Angels.
Right.
So, I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of possibilities in that division, and it'll be pretty interesting.
It'll
but-
be fun. And it's early. Like it really
early.
is too early to be upset.
Yeah,
But
way too early. And
Mariner
then
fans are in a fever pitch.
And then I think here in April, or is it in May? Hold on. Processing. Oh, no, it's not for a while. Yeah, it's May. May, 3-game series with the O's.
Ooh, that'll be fun. I'm trying to sneak up to games.
I am. I'm
Like,
going
ooh.
July 3rd
Oh, there you
because
go.
the Orioles are playing the Mariners over in
T-Mobile?
on T-Mobile there. So my wife and I are dropping the kids off, and we're going to a baseball game.
I've already made plans with a friend of mine. We haven't figured out which game, but we're gonna go up and
Nice,
we're
man.
gonna do the 9-9 challenge.
What's that?
9 dogs, 9 beers, 1 per inning each.
Do you want diabetes? Is that the goal?
No, I just won't eat the rest of the day.
You just won't eat the rest of the day?
Yeah, I'll
That's
drink like 2
insane.
protein shakes and then I just won't eat the rest. Like that's what my day will be.
I don't think. Okay, so what? First pitch is probably 3, right?
If it's a day game,
Yeah.
If it's a night game, 7.
Or are you going to go to a night game?
I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, I would
it's try
easier
a
for
day
me
game.
to afford a night game.
Okay, yeah, because I was going to say I would try a night game if you are going to do that. Well, no, I'm sorry. You should try a day game because
You can sleep it off.
well, not only that, but like you have less time during the day to have to wait to eat. Because if you do a night game and
true.
you know, either starve yourself or like you can't quite get the right balance, you could either like
Get
throw up
hammered.
from a shrink stomach or throw up from like
Yeah.
you had too much food that day. That's interesting. I want live reporting on that.
I will do it. Yeah, well, I've already been called dumb on the Vancouver Ford text line. Whatever. It'd be funny. Yeah, no.
That'd be
I'll-
great.
I'll-
I'm sure by the 6th
I have a
inning you won't
camera.
be able to text.
I was
but-
like, I have a camera person. They are going to they're gonna shoot out my tweets. They're gonna tweet for me.
well, sir, I wish you the best of luck, and perhaps Ozempic is in your future if you're going to do that.
Nah, I don't need that stuff.
No,
I don't need drug help.
drugs are bad.
I just lose my weight the old-fashioned way: starvation
Starvation
and proper
negative
protein grams,
and negative self-talk.
and getting 235 grams of protein minimum a day.
Oh, pretty
That's
good.
all I do.
All right, let's wrap this sucker up with a well, not wrap it up because we got to go one more segment after that. But I want to talk about that Kansas City sale, possible sale of the team because of their whole stadium situation. We'll talk about that next year on the Sinner and the Saint on 1080 The Fan. But first, here's some news. The NBA, yeah. Zion Williamson sat with a finger injury against the Spears.
He just finds new and fun ways to be hurt and miss, but not actually sound all that hurt.
Dude, they're really friggin' good when he's good. When he is on his game,
Right.
that team is frightening.
He's just always hurt because he's out of shape.
You're looking at a playoff picture where they might get themselves a first-round matchup with the Thunder. They are the 7 seed. So that I would love. I am incredibly pissed off because the Houston Rockets will no longer get the play-in, it's looking like. They're 4 games back from the last spot from the Warriors. I really wanted the Warriors to not make the play-in. I don't like that team. I don't like Steph Curry.
Just
And I-
'cause Steph?
No, because I believe he's really not a leader at all. I think he's just really great at shooting. I'm sorry, but if one guy continually gets kicked out of games and you lose those games, I'm not great at math, but shouldn't that lead me to a conclusion
That he's not the
that
best?
like,
I
yeah,
don't know, dude.
or
I'm-
just that like
I'm drinking the Kool-Aid.
you guys lose a
Steph.
lot when this one guy is out and you're supposed to be like one of the greatest players of all time.
He does all the things everyone else can't.
He's the greatest shooter of all time. There you go. Done.
He is. Yeah.
That's all you get. That's all you get.
Fair enough.
All right. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. Will Darkins from 1080 The Fan Sports Desk. Listen online. Oh, man, you're going to have to help me because I don't even have it memorized.
More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm
Nice.
Will Ortner at the Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey
yeah.
app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
Love it.
Auto accident? I'm Leif with Leif's Auto Collision Centers.
sales tax plan, which was basically hindering renovations for Arrowhead Stadium, leaving the team's future, the Kansas City Chiefs, in question as their lease at the Truman Sports Complex, that is the company that runs the whole rigmarole, runs until January 31st, 2031. However, the Chiefs look to remain in the stadium, which has been home to the franchise since 1972, which sparked a tweet. And a statement from Mayor Eric L. Johnson.
Ooh.
That is the mayor of Dallas, Texas, if you didn't know that.
I didn't.
But you did, right?
I did not.
Oh, you
I don't
didn't?
even know who my mayor is, and I voted.
You don't know who Vancouver's mayor is?
Nope. You
I
could
don't either.
you could take 10 people, men, women, children, maybe,
Yeah.
and throw them into a wall and be like, guess.
Yeah. Like if I had
I'd have no
just started
shot.
going confident on you and just been like, you don't know that Sam Jacobs is the mayor of Vancouver, you would have been like, oh, no, I didn't actually.
Yeah. You could have made up policies. I would have had
Wow.
no clue. You'd
That
been
sounds like it would benefit me.
yeah, or like, oh, that sucks. I'm not going to vote for them next time.
Wow.
If you would have came in and been like, Sarah Silverman is the mayor
Yeah.
of Vancouver,
Wow.
and she has decided to build a new comedy theater that all comics will come to and rival Joe Rogan's, and it's going to be on the waterfront. I'd be like, oh, cool. I like comedy shows.
That's interesting.
Yeah, okay, cool.
She does a lot.
She ran on a platform of comedy shows are sick, bro.
Yeah.
I'd be down.
According to Dallas Morning News, Johnson, the mayor, said that Dallas has a large enough market to maintain 2 NFL teams. I would agree with that. In terms of market size and also land value. If you've never been to Texas, congratulations. I will tell you that Dallas is a sprawling cornucopia of suburban developments, fast food, and smog. It is where a lot of Californians are moving because the price of living in California and the stability, the social stability, has started to break down to a point where they are no longer interested. They also don't want to die from the sun, so they've now avoided Arizona and started moving to Dallas. Dallas, as a market, is very ripe for new development, and I do agree with the fact that, yeah, it probably could hold 2 NFL franchises. Now, I think there's one guy that would be pissed off at that.
Jerry
Jones. I don't think he wants that smoke. I think he deals with enough the idea that, like, the Dallas Mavericks might take a little bit of recognition from him. Probably not a lot, but
a little
a
bit.
little. And he probably doesn't like it, but he ignores it because what are you going to do? It's a different league. There's no way in hell that guy wouldn't spend less than $80 million on lobbying to get that deal out.
Well, I
Like,
also,
no, don't want it.
and I know the Chiefs sneaky have horrible ownership. People don't realize this because it's like, oh, horrible owners don't win, and the Chiefs are winning all the time, so they don't have horrible owners. No, your owner made the smart decision of signing and making Andy Reid your head coach, and Andy Reid saw Patrick Mahomes and was like, I'm going to do this. But when you look through players ranking their facilities and all of their stuff, it's horrible.
Yeah.
And he has no plans. Are they the Hunts? It's the Hunt family, right? They have no plans of fixing any of that.
Yeah.
I still don't see why he would move them to Dallas. Because in Kansas City, you are the only game in town, really. Like, you're competing with the Royals.
Right. But it's about infrastructure. And that's, I think, something that's always missed when it comes to expansion
But
teams.
it's blowing up.
Right.
And then you're going to share, like, you're one of the oldest NFL franchises in a city that you've been in forever, and you're going to go and share revenue with Dallas. Oh, by the way, Houston's what, 3 hours away?
Yeah, and again,
You
it's
wanna deal with
about infrastructure, and it's about getting to a market that grows. Kansas City, I would imagine, probably isn't growing at an exponential rate. As I mentioned at the beginning of this segment, Dallas and Texas as a whole is exploding, and it's exploding because of cost of living and similarities between California. There's a pipeline of people from California, Arizona, and New Mexico that are just filing into Texas day after day. Now, I would warn them, there's a very slight, probably not too big of an issue with their power grid. that I would warn you about before moving there.
Not great, Bob.
Yeah, not great. It fails sometimes a lot. So
When it gets
there's
cold.
that risk, yeah, or just all the time. So there's that risk of it, but at the same time, you have all of this land that people want to develop on. And that's one of the major problems economically that the United States has right now when it comes to domestic policy and it comes to local economics is that there's not enough space and buildable land for homes. And Texas has very loose regulations when it comes to building. And so the idea of another football team in Dallas is A-okay with anybody in the NFL because they go, oh, well, it looks like everybody's moving there because they can afford it and people want to live there. So if there are more people there and the market just keeps exploding every 5 years, that's more money for us at the end of the day. Like, that's the reason why you have all these baseball teams and everything in Los Angeles, right? That's why you have 2 baseball teams in New York, is the size of it is so massive that you're not taking away from one team or the other. There's too many friggin' people to not share revenue. You're going to get your money. It doesn't matter. And so when you look at a place like Kansas City where, you know, it's probably not growing all that much, yeah, it's probably pretty attractive to go to a huge market.
Yeah, but I don't know. I still think it's a far fetch because, again, like you said, like I don't think Jerry Jones would allow it. I also and again, I get it that Texas is big. It's a big state, right?
It's huge.
And so like you can have Houston, you can have the Cowboys and everything's okay, but I feel like you throw a third team in there, I don't see how you get new fans. I feel like you can stay in Kansas City. The airport just expanded. So you're going to get more people in that way. And I do feel like more and more people are, like, as more and more remote jobs are out there, are moving to areas like Kansas City or are moving to, it's a bigger town, but it's not a Chicago. It's not an LA. It's not you can live in Missouri and still get the big city feel. You can live in Kansas and still get the big city feel. It just seems like a really bold decision, and I don't feel like there would be a lot of reward for it. But maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm
money.
dumb.
I think money would be the reward.
Are they going to get it though?
Yeah.
Like more than you would have in Kansas City? Because
Probably.
you are going to get the most money right now because you have the best, most fun quarterback in the NFL right now. He's the face of the league. Oh, by the way, the biggest pop star in the world and all of her crazy rabid fans now love you because they love your tight end.
Yeah.
Because he's dating her.
Yeah.
So I feel like you've kind of maxed out what you can do.
Yeah.
But you're not going to do more necessarily in Dallas.
It's a fair point.
I don't know.
Fair point. Come to Portland.
I think that's the only way to max.
Do it. Come to Portland.
You won't.
Yeah. We will build you a stadium in Forest Grove.
Maybe not.
We will build you a stadium at a former golf course. That's not actually in the city. In fact, it's quite far from
It's
the
city adjacent.
Yeah. It's actually in the suburban part of the city that most people live and don't want a lot of traffic in. But
Oh, well.
let's wrap this thing up. What to watch is next here on the Sinner and the Saint on 1080 The Fan.
Join